that Jade applied.
And Jade, how long have you been in your new position?
It's been barely 2 weeks, I would say. And I'm truly, truly grateful to Raquel and the rest of the team at PAL for all of their support through the hiring process and moving me here to Kauai. It was a big move, I will tell you, but I feel very, very supported in this role and feel very welcome in Kauai.
Oh, praise. I'm glad to hear that. Leah, I'll stop with the unscripted questions now.
No, please, keep them flowing. I'm fine. Because it's nice to have...
drop, and now I'm on a roll.
Oh, I like it, Jimmy. Keep you rolling. Because it's fun for you to ask the questions, and they're very well prepared, that's for sure.
Well, and both of you bring so much, if you will, to the game. And I want our listeners to understand just how much, I mean, as a COO, what are you going to be doing?
Yes, in my role as the COO, like Leigh said, there's been a lot of change within the organization. Our wonderful former executive director just retired, and he's done a very amazing job, and that's Larry Graff. And so we are, trying to continue all of the work that he's doing, and making sure that we don't drop the ball on any of our existing projects.
Right.
So I am going to definitely be supporting Leilani in all of the priorities that we have for the next few months, and also ensuring that the team is kept afloat and all of our employees feel supported in their roles. One of our exciting projects is the Namahana building that is being
here
constructed
in
currently. So I'm really looking forward to that project moving forward in a timely fashion, so that we can make all the necessary announcements that will make the community very happy and relieved.
So Leigh is, for our, if you will, television audience, holding up a graphic.
I'm holding up a visual.
So this is, tell us what we're seeing.
This is the first beginnings of the sticks on the ground that we've been talking about for quite some time. Now the sticks are way up there. We're progressing very quickly. It's at Kauhale o Namahana, which is across the street.
So am I looking at one building,
yes,
several buildings, but there's one in the foreground that looks like it's a...
Yeah,
I would say
it's partial. So we're building 3 at the moment.
Are these 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms?
These are 2 and 3. Can you think off the top of your head?
Ooh.
This one looks large enough to be a 3-bedroom.
Yeah, they're 2 and 3.
I think it's 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and has a kind of a nice, if you will, Hawaiian hip to the front end, and just a nice, simple gable roof, all wood framed.
Yes, so work is happening.
Yeah.
We talked for so long, so many months / years, because it was the infrastructure below the ground that you can't see. That's not that exciting for anyone passing by.
But you need
so that's why we're thrilled about this visual. This is super exciting.
Raquel, what's the backstory? You've been working with what other partners in regards to the county and even state permitting for some of the infrastructure, like individual wastewater systems?
Well, we know how that can drag on.
Right.
I can't speak too much to the partnerships. I wanted to say about the photo that, it's showing that we've got walls up on almost 3 of the homes. And it's got also the roof framed, so it's really making great progress. It's
3
really
of how
exciting.
many? What's going to be the final?
We'll be making 5 out of the full project, because in this particular project we're partnering with Habitat for Humanity, so they're building the rest. That's been a very powerful partnership for us, absolutely.
Okay, so you'll have 5 units in a total of how many?
11. Yeah.
Wow, and the partnership with Habitat is helping to make this all come together?
Yep.
Who else is involved? Is the county?
Indeed. No, not so well. No, but
we partner with the county for our home buying process.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So which we'll be getting into a lot more. You'll touch on it. Yes, nice. Because later in the second hour, Taylor Kuahine-Lani will be calling in, and she's the CLT person, the Ho'omalohia Land Trust expert on our team.
What is CLT for those who don't know?
Community Land Trust.
Okay.
And it's what I mentioned in the intro here about the 99 to 99 year consecutive leases.
That's kind of like the unique model that has been developed over time to make it affordable, sustainable,
and
in
regular terms that most people are more familiar with. It's leasehold, but it's specific because it will keep the places affordable for those 2 periods of time, which equals 198 years. Mm-hmm. So it's as permanently as we can be in this day and age.
Because we know that market forces sometimes have a upward presence or pressure for the prices or final selling home prices, or the limitation for local buyers when we have what is the entry-level homes for folks.
Well, we're not going to... Let us finish talking about what everybody's doing. I know Raquel has... I want her to speak up at this point while we have her, because she's leaving only in the first hour, about what she does. And please, Raquel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
About my work.
And yes, absolutely.
Sure. So, I'm the Development and Communications Director at PAL, and so... For me, that means I'm dealing with everything that's public-facing in terms of our communication, so our website, our social media, all of our branding and design work, and all of our swag for our camera people. You can see
we're all in uniform.
We're all PAL swagged out. Our stickers, all our stuff.
Too, and I didn't even... Well, there we go. I'm feeling bumblebee-ish. I like the black and yellow.
Yeah. And so I handle all of that sort of visual branding identity. Mm-hmm. And then from the development side, I'm also doing fundraising. So I do grant writing, I do donor relations, everything having to do with bringing in funding as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Boy, that's a big plate.
Yeah, very important work.
Right.
It's a huge job. Mm-hmm. And really, through Raquel's work, because we all know everyone pays attention to social media one way or the other, it made us...
Especially those who are
put
on
us
social
on the
media.
map. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now it's quite frequent. I can talk to a complete stranger and mention, PAL, do you know? Oh, yeah, we know about that. Even Jade, you have a story about that.
Yeah.
When she was here looking for housing. Go ahead, Jade.
Yeah, literally, I was surprised at how much the community knows about PAL and all of the work that we do. So when I was looking for housing, thinking about the big move, while I was talking to landlords, I would just introduce myself like, "Hi, my name is Jade. I'm looking for housing." And someone would say, "I know someone who knows you. I know about PAL. I know what you came here for." I was like, wow, it's really nice to see that the community is really receptive to us, and we want to continue that goodwill and making sure that everyone can be a beneficiary at the end of the day. Not everyone, but most of our of the residents can in one way or the other see the good that we're doing and be part of it.
Mm-hmm. Coming in from another place to a big job, and to have that be some of the early on, I can see why you feel welcomed and excited about the prospects.
Yes.
And I can see why having somebody like Raquel being kind of crucial in this transition period, as well as just maintaining the progress that you guys are making. This has been, how long, for folks that are unfamiliar with the organization, how long has PAL been pushing forward?
Well, we started in 2018, so we're 7 years old, but...
7 years. There's something about those 7 years.
On the 14th, we just had our
November
anniversary.
14th. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wanted to also ask Raquel to talk a little bit about a program that she came up with, which was quite brilliant, we think, and it's really done a lot to kind of connect a lot of us and people who are supporters. You want to talk a little bit about Pohai?
The PAL Pohai? Yeah, absolutely. So
that's your kind of donor circle or a giving program?
Yes, exactly. So it's our monthly giving program that we have, and so it's a way for individuals to really be closely tied to our work and provide that kind of reliable funding pool for homes to be built and people to be housed, also for our rental programs.
Yeah.
And so, for people to join, you would just make a monthly donation, and you get to also come to about quarterly gatherings that we hold. We hold each about 3 of them a year. And we all come together with our staff. It's really fun, and we just share about the work that we're doing. We often have guest speakers who speak about different issues in housing in Hawaii. And it's a great time to really just feel connected, and also to meet people that care about the same kinds of things that you do, other people that are passionate about the community and about housing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, when you're, I don't want to say in a position to contribute financially that way, and then to know you get a little bit of a direct feedback kind of a report that's not a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's not a prospectus. It's like this experience of, wow, here's my investment, and the return on it looks like.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like when you partner with us, you get to know us, who we are as a team, and the work that we're doing. Yeah.
It really is so moving. At the last Pohai, which we had not too long ago, just
in October,
just recently, and one of the people that was there. It's a chance for them to meet who we all are, and she shared her personal story about how moved she was because she had put out a little inquiry about what Pohai was all about, and she was so impressed and so pleased that she was reached out to personally with a phone call and a follow-up. And I said, well, do you not usually hear back? And everybody in the room said, no, not really.
Wow.
And that was a profound impact to reach out and actually touch someone individually, that people can feel heard.
Right.
And that what they're offering or in support is certainly appreciated and not just taken as nothing, So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just realized, time-wise, I have a message that I want to play. And are we going to have a phone call in the near future, or?
The call will be in the second part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, terrific. And just for a reminder, you are listening to Kauai Community Radio, and this is the Permanently Affordable Living Hawaii radio show on Kauai Community Radio. And this message is from the Kauai Lifeguard Association. Another way for us to stay safe when we're having fun on the beautiful Garden Island.
Did you know that the leading cause of accidental death of visitors on Kauai is drowning? And most of these people were snorkeling. Let's clear up a few myths about snorkeling and share some common sense precautions you can take to stay safe. To snorkel safely, you need to be a good swimmer. If you're uncomfortable in the ocean without the aid of a flotation device, you shouldn't go snorkeling. Poor judgment on where to snorkel and a failure to recognize hazardous conditions are leading causes of drowning. This is especially true on Kauai, where the ocean can change dramatically from morning to afternoon. For more, here is Bridget Velasco. She is a researcher and former Hawaii State Drowning Prevention Coordinator.
Snorkeling is not as easy as many believe. It is not a low-risk activity. This is true for both inexperienced and experienced swimmers and snorkelers. Always swim with a buddy. If you have a pre-existing health condition, you should stay in shallow water that you can stand up in. Mask and snorkel designs vary and can make breathing even more challenging than swimming. Use a good quality mask and snorkel. They should fit well, be comfortable, and not leak. Learn to use the simplest snorkeling devices first before trying more complex models. Shortness of breath, fatigue, and dizziness can be signs of danger. If you experience any of these conditions, you should stay calm, stand up, remove your mask and snorkel, and get out of the water immediately.
If you're going snorkeling while in Hawaii, check with lifeguards about the ocean conditions for the location where you plan to get in the water. This ocean safety awareness message is brought to you by the Kauai Lifeguard Association, an independent nonprofit dedicated to preventing drownings in our community. Have fun and stay safe.
Oi! Aloha! This is Paula Funga, and you're listening to Kauai Community Radio.
All right, that took me by surprise. Didn't expect Paula. We are back live in the booth, and I'm with Leilani Spencer from Permanently Affordable Living Hawaii on our PAL Hawaii radio show. We're with Raquel and Jade, two of your key personnel. Mm-hmm. Who else are we missing?
We are missing, well, not missing, but they're not here in studio. Mm-hmm. It would have been something. So a few other folks that are very key for all of us. Moana Waipa, she's our financial controller. Very important for budgeting and keeping track of the dollars.
Yeah.
Taylor Kaluahine Lani, and she's our community land trust coordinator. She'll be calling in the second hour. Mm-hmm. And explain in depth about the community land trust, which we've talked about before, but it's good to have it come directly from her because that's her zone. And then, of course, Raquel. We have Caitlin Oki, and she's our executive assistant. We have Crystal Cade Bargallo, resident services director. Seems like everyone knows her because she's been a lot around with many of the nonprofits. She's involved with homeless outreach and many other things. Plus, she does case management at our rentals at our Kekaha building and also in the Kapa'a building, which is where the Hoku Foods is, and we call that Kauhale o Kapa'a. And then we have April Joy Giraldi, and she's our property accounting manager. And we have, working with her, Fred Avigatero, and he's our maintenance and construction manager. We have Chauncey Juan Giraldi, maintenance and construction specialist. We have Bill Chase, and he's our construction logistics consultant, who's overseeing the rehabilitation of the Kapa'a building, because we purchased that building, and as buildings go, that building needed a lot of love. A lot of love. Rehabilitation is really the word.
How old is that building?
Good question. It's old.
Yeah.
Not quite as old as me, I don't think, or you even, but man, buildings take a hard hit here on the island.
Yeah.
You know,
it survived the Niki.
Yeah, it did. And then we also have our wonderful Stephen Spears, and he's our construction consultant. He was the former executive director for many years, actually, of Habitat for Humanity. And with his genius, he's actually overseeing the Kauhale o Kalaheo, which is a building site that we're working on, and he's overseeing that. Yeah, but that'll be the next one after Namahana. And with his expertise and with so many of the strategies that he used in Habitat to build nice quality homes, but making it cost less and less through a lot of strategies that he's very good at. So that's awesome.
Terrific.
It is an awesome...
That's the kind of, if you will, masters that you need on the program.
Yeah, this is a dream team. Yeah. Absolutely, it really is. So speaking of that...
That's a lot of folks. Those are all staff.
Yeah, staff, well, 10
Some
staff, 2 contractors.
Okay.
Yeah. And last but not least, but very importantly, in order for me to shift, I had to step down from board chair, which I was doing for a while. But we have found a wonderful new board chair who I'm very confident that he's going to take the ball and run with it and be wonderful. He's very tuned into our mission. So I want to read his bio because it's quite impressive. He is a longtime organizational leader.
And this is Randy Martin?
Randy Martin. He's a longtime organizational leader and advisor focused on strengthening purpose-driven and nonprofit organizations. He's an expert in nonprofit world. After more than 20 years as a principal at Deloitte Consulting, he founded Randall Martin LLC, where he supports nonprofits, social enterprises, and mission-based companies with strategy, governance, leadership, development, equity and inclusion, and organizational design. All things that make him, I am very excited to have him join the team. His work has supported orgs such as the YMCA of the USA, Feeding America, the Atlanta Community Food Bank, and the Georgia Department of Public Health. He also teaches organization and management at Emory University, and he's held multiple nonprofit board leadership roles. He has degrees from Harvard and Georgetown and has been recognized with both National Science Foundation and American Sociological Association fellowships. So, wow.
Yeah.
He's wonderful. And he's very excited to get on board with PAL. He really is. So, and so it's an interesting story between
the three Emory alumni. I'm just going to ask you, Emory, for folks who don't know, it's a powerhouse university in Atlanta, right?
Correct.
What's it known for? Why is Emory?
It's known mostly for its medical program because they work very closely with the CDC, but it's got a lot of wonderful educational programs in it, beyond medicine as well. Yeah.
Jay, did you want to describe your experience?
Yeah, I think, it's really a wonderful university. They do a lot to really enlighten students and provide opportunities. Our program, it's the Masters in Development Practice. The mission of that program really is what I and Raquel are working on right now, having that passion for nonprofit purpose-based organizations. I think there's a lot of, I would say a lot of people are out of touch with, how the nonprofit world works and, the challenges, the unique challenges that they face. So that's something that we always discuss in our classes, in our case studies. Our degree actually includes a practicum aspect where you're actually supposed to go out and, intern with an organization and get that real world experience. And a lot of people do serve in organizations that are, in another country or resource scarce organizations, and, just contribute whatever they can to ensure that communities are actually being, impacted in a positive way. So
love that. And
it was coincidental how it all kind of came about in an interesting way. So our board people, and I want to introduce them too, which is part of this story, is the other board member is Glenn Head, and you've heard him. He's called in a few times, and he's vice president secretary of the PAL board, and he's been with us for a while. He's an interesting man. He talks to everyone about PAL. He wears his T-shirt proudly everywhere. He's our guy that's out on the ground.
Could you have an ambassador like that on the board?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, he really is. And then we also have Eliza Kobayashi, and she's our treasurer. And she is with Central Pacific Bank as a VP officer. So... And we have
has a background in finances.
Yes, indeed. And we have Puna Kalama Dawson, and she's our board member, and she's I don't know if you know her. She's a Kumuhula cultural practitioner who's beautiful and wonderful, and just really adds a beautiful depth to the whole board.
Certainly.
Yes, and I'm still on the board, but I'm ex officio, non-voting unless there's a tie break. So that's where we stand. So back to Glenn again. So it was interesting. How did we meet? Well, Randy says that he was riding around and he happened to pull up in a parking lot somewhere, and he saw PAL, the sticker on Glenn's car, and he had been knowing about it, I believe, through
Raquel.
He'd been a donor,
through me. Yeah.
Right. And so he walked up to Glenn and said, "Oh, are you with this group?" And Glenn said, "Oh, yeah." And okay, so Glenn is, "Hey, let's have coffee guy." He's a let's have coffee. Okay, so he approached and told Randy, "Yeah, let's go have coffee," and they did. And then he asked me to step in too. And when I met Randy, I was saying, "Oh yes," because I knew that I needed to have someone to step in with, Larry's retirement. You were here. We were kind of surprised it was coming so quickly. So yeah. So when I heard him and his I could see and hear his passion, and also his wife was also with him, who's another wonderful contributor to this community, and they're relocating back here more permanently now.
Are they like part-time residents or?
Yeah, yeah. Well, because he was teaching and everything in Atlanta, so he retired from there, and now he's here full-time and diving into the community. And when I heard that, I said, oh yes, okay, let's see what he can do. So he willingly said yes, and we're very excited about that because he's an expert with long-term strategic planning and things in a nonprofit that are really
it sounds
key.
Like all of the things that you would like on a board, and then to have your board president be that individual. And of course, as Emory alumni, you must have a little bit of extra sense of pride and kind of just confidence in knowing, oh, this guy's quality.
Yeah.
I was a little, I don't want to say skeptical, but, there's a lot of new people that come, and that's often a challenge. And this is a conversation that you and I had in regards to what are you going to do now? And I'm so thrilled to know that there's succession happening on the board and through leadership and the administrative team, because that's so important during transitions of leadership, during this kind of phase in a 7-year. What's going to happen next? You've got big projects happening and
continuity,
and kind of building this brand, this reputation and providing a great service at a time when Kauai needs more of this.
Right.
So thank you guys for doing more of this.
Yeah, a reputation that was, hard won. It takes time, as you know, introducing anything new into the community, but it's been amazing. And even, words from Stephen saying, whoa, what you all have accomplished in these short years, other orgs haven't managed to pull off even in 20. So that's a huge compliment coming. And having experts in so many of these areas is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a quite a well-oiled machine, I have to say. And I have a lot of work to do just because I've been involved, and one of the co-founders, even before Larry was hired, actually. So I've been, as the board chair, involved very much so.
I couldn't think of somebody who knew more about the organization than you because of your longevity and where you started with. I mean, you were kind of ground floor level.
Right, but not the day-to-day inside operation. So there's a lot there, you know. So it's wonderful to be, in many ways, educated. And Jade,
and then to have,
them catching us up with what all's been going on.
What do you guys find the most challenging part? I'm not directing this at you because you just started, but Raquel, what does make the job challenging and rewarding? What are some of the things that stand out for the work that you do? Is that okay? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, it's fine. One thing though, to set the record straight. Actually, Jade was doing remote work as of September, actually. Yeah. So she was busy just learning. There's so much to learn about our projects and all that. So she was onboarding way early, starting in September. Her week 2 has been week 2 in the office on the island because she had to move and all those things. So, yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking from kind of more of a communications and fundraising standpoint, because that's where my mind goes, I think it's being able to keep the attention and excitement and momentum in these types of construction projects that are sometimes, they take a very long time. And it's not, because anybody isn't doing their work. It's just
it takes a long time.
The bureaucracy of going through all the processes and the permitting and all the things. And so being able to keep people excited, like, it's coming, I promise. Like, things are happening. Yeah. You don't see it, but everything is happening behind the scenes. And so, just keeping that hope and that excitement alive. Yeah.
And then the rewarding part.
I mean, the rewarding part is getting to see people coming into our homes and knowing that we are able to give people that stability and peace that they've been searching for. Because it's so hard to be able to be successful in your life without having that foundation of a home and knowing that you are safe, that that's where you live, and then you can focus your energy on the other things,
Sure.
And not be worried about receiving a 45-day notice, which is a reality on this island.
Oh, I mean, in ways that it just seems like it's more like the pressure cooker is somebody dialed it up.
I had that for 30 years. I rented on this island. And actually, that's where the whole restoring hope part came about, because it really is a sense of hopelessness, of I'll never, and I really believed that I would never be able
to.
Right.
Yeah.
But I got myself on the county list, and in 14 years my number came up. So. And that's
kind of the testament to what it takes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But with our program, and Taylor will get deeper into that, what that process is. But yeah. So you can ask Jade the question now about the challenges or rewards, because she's been not just 2 weeks in.
Yeah, I would say the challenges that I have faced just being on the island so far is ensuring that there's a whole lot of ways we serve the community, from the home building and the community land trust to the affordable housing that we actually have people renting out some of our, the property that we hold. And we also have the Beyond Housing program as well, which serves all of the residents in the Kapa building and the Kekaha building as well. So there's a lot of work and a lot of people who hold up that work. So my just ensuring ensuring that all of this parts of how we serve the community is functioning efficiently and effectively is always a daily challenge, no matter what.
Right.
And one of the joys of being in PAL is truly the team. I would say that each and every person that works at PAL is really passionate about what they're doing. They're highly qualified. They are also living out the reality of what we are trying to solve. So everyone is working together to ensure that this great mission that we have, we're able to accomplish it. I would say for all of the accomplishment that we've had in the past years, and for how intimate or small that our team is actually mind-blowing. How much people are able to accomplish, even though we're a handful, but we're not like a large corporation. And just ensuring that everyone feels supported in their work and they're able to continue doing the things that they do has been very, very rewarding. And also the fact that a lot of the things that we're doing, we're able to stay true to the Hawaiian culture is really, really nice for me to learn coming from the outside, because there's just that Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian spirit in everything that PAL is involved with, and that's something that is beautiful for me to learn and to be immersed in. It's a great privilege for me and an opportunity to be part of that. Everyone has been so welcoming. The workplace culture is so much different from everything that I'm used to, and I'm truly, truly grateful for all of those values and all of those qualities that we embody in the organization.
And that's when you have someone like Puna Kalama Dawson on the board, and she's been involved probably from the start, or I know Puna from working in a housing program and her work through Louis Court Townhomes and Mutual Housing Association, and she's a dynamo, and she's just this wealth of she's an incredible spiritual being, and we're blessed to have her on our island. You guys are blessed to have her on your team.
Yeah, we really are.
And it speaks to kind of like what a rich community we live in, and how vibrant and resilient it is. And the work that you guys are doing are trying to just make more of that happen. I want to ask you, I'm going to take a little message break, but what brought you into this? Why choose this work? Because you're young, you could go in so many different directions, but we're going to have to take just a quick pause to go back to my Hawaiian word of the day and a message from the county.
Fashion has a waste problem. Textiles, like the clothes we wear, amount for 15.4 million tons of waste generated in the U.S. annually. 85% of this textile waste ends up in landfills. On Kauai, discarded clothing goes to Kekaha, where it takes up precious space in our island's only and rapidly filling landfill. Luckily, there are better options for unwanted clothing than throwing it away. Repair or mend distressed threads with clothing alteration services like those offered by
off-island by bringing donations to the Kauai Resource Center for monthly events with Goodwill Hawaii. On an island with limited space and an abundance of resources, it's important to circulate what already exists within our community instead of throwing things out to bring new things in. For a full list
stores on Kauai, plus dates for monthly collection events with Goodwill Hawaii, visit kkcr.org/onair/opala. This message is brought to you by funding from the County of Kauai's Office of Economic Development.
Aloha. Today's Hawaiian word of the day is aha'aina. Aha'aina is translated as a feast, dinner party, or banquet. Literally, aha'aina means meal gathering. E hui pū me mākou no ka aha'aina laha nau no ka ho'ohanohano ana ia lehua. Join us for a birthday feast in honor of Lehua. Again, today's Hawaiian word of the day is aha'aina, which is a feast, dinner party, banquet, or meaning to feast.
KKCR's Hawaiian word of the day is brought to you by the Ama Olukai Foundation.
There we go. We are back live in the booth, and We've got our permanently affordable living Hawaii crew in the house. I guess that's one of the first questions I have. Permanently affordable living Hawaii. When was that shift from permanently affordable living Kauai to Hawaii, and where are we at with that?
Okay, Raquel, you can take that one because I was the president at that time, and it was a big transition, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think it was our thinking behind it is that we want to eventually, in the future, be able to serve, you know, the state of Hawaii, not just the island of Kauai, and so really opening up that vision for the future. And so we decided to rebrand. That was I think almost 2 years ago now.
It was also when Jim Edmonds was sitting in the seat where I'm sitting now, and he was very excited about the idea of doing something on the Big Island, and so it became an idea that we went through with. And you know, in a lot of ways it's kind of cool because we got a lot of interesting new things, and the branding, and so, and
absolutely.
Change
and do you
is
guys
always
still
good.
have a project on the Big Island? Not anymore.
No,
well,
we see that really the greatest need is here, and I'm seeing, because of going to being a part of different cohorts and things like that on other islands, Maui has their own what they're doing, and they're getting funding and a lot of attention, which is good. Of course, not all done, but things are rolling in Maui. Also, Molokai, same thing. They're gathering together with other like-minded people and developing and building, because really the land trust is really the key on the affordable housing aspect. Oahu, they've got their own sets of problems, and we, you know, Kauai is a greater need, let's put it that way. There's more inventory there, and Big Island as well has, you know, everyone kind of knows land is less expensive there, and not to say that it's not a problem there, but I think that the highest need at this point is here on Kauai. So that's our focus right now.
And, you know, having the, if you will, success that you've had here, I mean, I would imagine it's kind of, you know, expanding. It's an opportunity.
And we're open to partnering.
Sure.
So that's
and you guys got a concept, proof of concept that's been demonstrated. You guys have a model that's, I think, scalable.
Yes.
At least from my, you know, limited perspective.
Yeah. And it's getting a lot of attention, actually, from other gatherings.
I would imagine. Right.
Yeah, there's several gatherings and cohorts of things that are happening. Recently, there was a huge, amazing event at Common Ground. And it was an event where...
Was that last week? Or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Okay. Was that the housing fair or something that I believe the county...
No, it was Kainaho. It was a gathering from people from all over the world. Indigenous groups came, Native Americans came from multiple places. There? I was there representing PAL, and Randy was there. And he was there representing PAL. Yeah, representing PAL, but he was already invited because that's the way he thinks. He's got other organizations that brought him in. So that was great to spend time with him there. But the gathering is amazing because they set it up in different panels, and the idea of it is to have care involved in the Aina effort, you know, caring.
Well, Annie had sent a press release, I think it came from the county, in regards to the event, and was, you know, asking, did the public affairs folks want to cover this? And I suggested, Leilani probably knows about this, or we might want to put this on the PAL show, because it was housing related.
It was an amazing event. It was a 3-day event. I was there for, I was involved, requested to be on the panel. So Kaina and I were on the panel with a couple of other people. Very diverse group from all over the world, Australia, New Zealand. I mean, it was Europe.
Who hosted this, or who put
Common
this
Ground put it together. And I was kind of new to this whole idea. Jen Luck is the one that helps form that up. And her Amanda is the other person that works, and they put the whole thing together. It was beautifully done. Amazing. Yeah. So, but the point being that it's kind of like an idea whose time has come. Finally, people are coalescing together and figuring out ways of keeping land, holding land, thinking of people, and backing off of the money over mission concept versus mission over money.
Because we see that, if you will, kind of the market aspect of real estate, housing, development, all of those things, the trend is people can't afford it. And only the rich are able to benefit and get to say who gets to benefit with them.
Right.
Am I wrong?
No.
And so that goes back to that question of like, wow, so how'd you guys get into this? Why would you be on, kind of into a mission-based organization to do your career stuff that's trying to make a difference?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, I've just always been passionate about wanting to work in positive impact. It was sort of like I didn't want to go to just a regular 9-to-5 job where I was just making money for the sake of making money. Like, I wanted to feel like there was something good coming out of all the time and energy that I was spending every day. And so, after going to our program at Emory, that was what really introduced me to the nonprofit world, and when I came back to Kauai after graduating, I was just like, where can I fit in? You know, where can I make a difference? How can I help? And so I bounced around between a few organizations before I finally landed at PAL. Yeah.
What when you started at PAL, were you doing the same thing you're doing now, or have you kind of grown into the position, or kind of demonstrated that, hey, you could do a number of things?
She developed because we were a new org, and so she developed the position. And
it was, when I first came in, I was a development associate, but it's funny because the word development has so many definitions. So, when I was hired as a development associate, it was to do with construction.
Okay.
And
not fun development. Fun development. It was building development.
Yes, building development, exactly, not fundraising development. But then I just saw that there was a need, and I had skills in grant writing, and so I began doing fundraising. And then we also eventually had our communications person leave, and so I just took that over as well and kind of made one giant position for myself doing both things. So, it's like that when you're in a small org that's just starting out. Everyone wears multiple hats, and you just kind of have to jump in where you can to get things done. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but it did sound like EMS might be doing a little signal broadcast test, a monthly test, and if not so, we'll hear more. I'm sure one of the professionals will come through the door with a piece of paper saying, please read this to our listeners who may be concerned.
Before Raquel leaves, I wanted to say, you mentioned in your young life and your career, I am delighted to work with so many powerful young women, because so many places, you've been there, you've been to the protests. Why aren't there more young people, and it's true. But young people need to feel engaged and relevant, and, that they're doing something and that their skills are being utilized. So, I mean, I'm delighted to have young and having recent college experience and coming out and doing in the work exactly what they're trained for. I find that extremely refreshing.
Yay. Well, good for you, because you hired the right folks for the right job. 2 new hires.
I can't claim credit for Raquel. She was.
You weren't on the hiring committee?
I was not.
No.
I was not. Jade, yes. But that was a rigorous one. She had to be before a panel of multiple.
I mean, when you're the COO, right, as opposed to the assistant developer, development coordinator.
Raquel came in and invented the position.
Yeah.
Okay, so I cannot claim any credit for that,
because of I would say you probably started around the time that the radio show started. Am I wrong, or were you guys doing the radio show before?
I think it was already happening, but I came in like the spring of 2022. So yeah.
And when did you guys start the radio show?
We've been doing this for over 3 years now. Yeah, because Jim was running an ad in the newspaper, and then things changed at Garden Island, and so many changes have happened, huh?
That's what life is all about.
Yeah.
Plenty of changes.
Right.
You can almost guarantee there will be some changes in the future. We can look forward to that. Any other? Go ahead.
Do you have any? Because we always ask our guests to leave with a message of hope. And so,
a message of hope. I was actually going to leave with a fundraising message, otherwise I felt like I wasn't doing my job, because I do have to step out. But just to let everyone know that we are doing a wonderful Giving Tuesday fundraiser for PAL. That was associated with our Palpo that we mentioned earlier. And so our goal is to raise our monthly members of Palpo, that's our monthly donors, to 110 members. And we're doing pretty good. We've got about 80 members so far, so we're just looking for 30 more people to join and be a part of our community. And
what's the best way if folks are interested in joining? How do they join?
Yeah, if people are interested, you can join on our website. It's pal-hawaii.org. And really, any amount of a donation makes a difference, whether it's $5 a month or if it's $100.
Amen.
And before you leave, one more little thing to describe the 1% program.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we also have a vehicle for giving for businesses that are interested in really getting involved in the community, and that's the 1% for affordable housing. And so in that program, you make a pledge to donate 1% of your revenue to affordable housing, and that's 100% tax deductible. And you also receive a badge that you can put on anything you want. You can hang, put it up in your storefront, or you could put it on your website or on any of your printed materials, just to share with the community the impact that you are, committed to.
Wow. Another way to contribute.
Yeah.
And gives me hope that folks listening might take advantage of the situation and realize, wow, there's many different ways I can get involved. 110 members?
110 members. That's what we're shooting for.
That's the POHI, but the 1% are businesses. There are people now that are involved in that who have vacation rentals, which is wonderful, and it's their way of giving back. And this is the appeal to those realtors out there, because that would be a wonderful, wonderful way to share and to give back to this island for something that you're selling from this island.
Right.
So that is a really good way to help to support this island, because we know we need people. Yeah. We need our local people housed.
And to encourage the people that are buying homes to let them know this is a way that you can also give back to the place that you're going to get to enjoy. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I have a young colleague at the high school who is looking to purchase his first home, and his girlfriend is a realtor, which is why they're able to afford their first home. And I will approach them and ask them to join, because, they're young, and working with the clientele, that 1% might not seem to be that much.
When you break it down, it really is pretty small. When you're talking about the kinds of commissions that realtors are making.
Right.
I'm not saying it's an easy job. We know that, they do plenty and all that, but it is a really good way to give back. So.
There we go. Well, it is the top of the hour, and you are listening to Kauai Community Radio, Radio KKCR, Hanalei, KAQA, Kilauea, KCQA, Anahola, and K205 FM, Honolulu, streaming worldwide at www.kkcr.org. And this Kauai permanently affordable living is made possible by KKCR's sustaining members in partnership with Kauai Smoke, Horses Are Good Company, and Hallelujah Second Saturdays.
Kauai Smoke.
Take this phone call, and I'm going to put the caller live on the air and say, welcome. You are calling Kauai Community Radio. Can you hear us?
I can. Aloha.
Oh,
Aloha.
Good. That's Taylor Kuahine Lani.
Taylor, can you hear Lei? I'm going to try to dial us in.
Yes, I can. Can you guys hear me?
Pretty well.
Yes, we can.
All
Hi,
right.
Taylor.
Taylor, welcome.
Yay. Aloha, Jade. Hi, Lei.
Aloha. Thank you for calling in. How was the jiu-jitsu? Her young daughter is taking jiu-jitsu.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, she's very excited. This is her third practice, and she's super into it. So we're happy.
I bet it was fun watching that. How old is she now?
She is 6.
Okay.
And there's probably 30 kids, in Kilauea town. Bruno is the instructor,
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for calling in. Taylor is our Community Land Trust Coordinator, and we've been talking about Community Land Trust, which really highlights how PAL is and different from just any old developer. So, Taylor, can you share your role at PAL and what you do as a Community Land Trust Coordinator?
Yeah, absolutely. And I tuned in while I was waiting for her a little bit, so it was so awesome to just, listen in with Jade and with Raquel, and, it's just such an amazing team, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And I've really been with PAL since the beginning, and, this transition for me into the Community Land Trust Coordinator, I'm so excited and energized about, because this is where my passion is, with this Community Land Trust movement, that's been happening on the continent for a while now, and it's really shifted and moved over to Hawaii. And I'm just so happy that PAL is able to provide Community Land Trust homeownership to Kauai. So a part of what I do is really I'm just essentially building the stewardship side of the Community Land Trust, and also coordinating all of the home buying process for our CLT projects. So some of the things, working on specific, particularly with our Namahana project coming up, working on our lease, our ground lease, so legal documents like that, and really connecting and coordinating with our partners like Kauai County, Hawaiian Community Assets, Hawaii Home Ownership Center, and making sure that all of our systems within PAL and the policies, internally are strong enough to protect this affordability for generations. As you're mentioning, Lei, 99 years plus another 99 years, and hey, maybe even further than that. But, we got to make sure, at least with what I'm doing, is that we have this strong foundation, and we can take this and protect our land and our affordability for the generations to come. And, a lot of it is behind the scenes, but it's really all about creating this foundation that will support our families for the long term.
And when we talk about role, similar to when Raquel joined us, she developed the position really. And very much like that with Taylor, because she's absolutely a co-founder, she and Jim, and then attracted other people. And I was at the table then. Eventually, Larry, as we've mentioned before, was our first actual employee. Everything was all volunteer. And, that's the way nonprofits work.
Right.
But she really is the one who dug in and got all the research and understanding about the CLT and really formulated it up. So she was another person who, developed the whole idea actually and brought it forward and applied it to how we would be using it in PAL.
Good job, Taylor.
Yeah, great job, Taylor. A lot of research.
What it was, right, is who are we? We're permanently affordable living, and Jim was like, how can we do that? And that was the researchers, like, community land trust. That's how we can create permanent affordability. You know, so it's really exciting work.
So it meant that she would be connecting with people in Maui and Molokai and all around to do that kind of research to find out what is the best of the best so that we can develop a really strong program. And I'm seeing other people now are out there wanting to model after what we're doing. So it's and we're still deep in the, legal and making sure everything's sorted out, but yeah, Taylor is very instrumental in all of this.
What has been some of those kind of legal hurdles that you guys had to overcome?
Yeah, so a lot of what's the best way to describe? So community land trusts, there's so many different ways that you can structure a community land trust, depending on where you start. And so it's really just looking at the organization and, deciding upon things of a lot of times community land trusts or affordable housing organizations will really use community land trusts as more of a tool to enable this long-term affordability. And there's also, so community land trusts using it as a tool, but also creating it as really like a movement and an identity. And so that's where that, community involvement and community governance and those kinds of things that really make a community land trust a community land trust. And so it's really just research. It's researching and looking at all of the foundational documents that make up the community land trust, which is the ground lease that covers things like the resale formula,
The what kind of formula?
The resale.
The resale formula. Yeah, so like a shared appreciation and how that works. So it's looking at all of these things that organizations across, the U.S., across the world, as well as in Hawaii have done, and really tailoring it towards what we're doing in our community here. So that has been the challenge of taking a ton of information, but also applying it to what we're doing here and Hawaii and Hawaii's culture and all of those things. So those are some of the challenges.
Yeah. And that thing about the resale, we saw after looking closely that was kind of the downfall of some of the community affordable programs, the one specifically in Kilauea. And Jim sat here and said that he sold units there in the realms of the mid-hundreds to buy a house. But the thing is that the affordability cap ended in 10 years. So many of those homes went to the open market.
Right afterwards. Like
at 10-year mark.
Uh-huh.
And so when that happens, it becomes permanently unaffordable.
Right.
Because it's no more.
And then it puts that upward pressure on the neighboring communities because, all these houses went up, now my house is worth this much, or whatever the impact might be with raising or rising costs for affordable housing.
Right. And of course it did obviously very strongly increase the personal wealth of that particular family, which we're not against that, but it sure didn't help the community because that is forever off the market now.
Right.
So that is a really big deal that we knew we had to figure that out. And the county has now figured that out too. So we're very happy about that.
To see that kind of institutional change that would have long-lasting positive impact.
Right. Because as long as things you buy it at a reasonable price, and it hits the open market, boom, then it's gone. It's gone, and it's out of our reach suddenly as local people.
Yeah.
So, Taylor, how do donations help PAL put properties into the Community Land Trust? Like, for example, the Kalaheo units.
Yeah, so the donations really help close the funding gap so we could include the Kalaheo units into the Community Land Trust. Because really, without that support, we wouldn't be able to sell the homes at a truly affordable price, just because the project costs are just simply too high. So the donations really make it possible to actually dedicate those units to permanent affordability, for that, to keep the families in perpetuity. So.
Well, I jumped into Kalaheo, but where do we stand with the Namahana as far as what's in the Community Land Trust?
Oh, yeah. Well, Namahana, it was so essential, and, for all the homes to, the 5 homes to be placed in the community land trust. And, you know, I'm glad that you brought that up, just because I really wanted to acknowledge, you know, that it all started with a small group of initial funders and North Shore community members who, you know, believed in the project when it was really just an ethereal concept. You know, this was 3 years ago, and, you know, their early support really allowed us to place that very first home into the CLT. And that first step, like, unlocked this momentum and the larger grants that followed. And, you know, what's, like, so powerful about just donating to CLT programs is that those early donations don't just it's not a one-time difference. They get recycled. Every dollar.
There's a multiplier.
Every dollar that helps make these homes affordable, like, stays invested in that property through this CLT structure. So it's when the home resells in the future, the affordability stays in place for the next family and the next. So even those early supporters didn't just help one family, they created a full chain reaction of permanent affordability for generations. Like, that is so powerful.
So on the Namahana, is it completely in the CLT now, all the homes?
Yes. So all of our 5 homes at Namahana are in the CLT, yes.
So the next effort is, where do we stand with the Kalaheo units being in the CLT?
So the Kalaheo units, is Raquel still with
She left. She left.
Oh, she left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have, I believe, one of the homes that we have secured into the community land trust, and we're looking for 2 more to help close that funding gap.
So that's where the stream of donations are being directed at this point.
To a specific
to
site.
that specific need.
Yes, in Kalaheo.
Yeah.
So I'm a little confused then in regards to the whole property, like in Kilauea, the Namahana. You have other developers.
Yeah, partners. That partner is Stephen Spears. And it was his own project.
Are those houses in the community land trust, or is that a different?
That's what we're fundraising to get that, because that means to purchase the land under to get it into the CLT, into the land trust.
In Kilauea?
No, those are all covered. The ones that
I thought the Kilauea property had 5 of the PAL properties, and then
5 of 11.
The remainder, were Habitat.
Habitat, right.
And are those Habitat homes in a community land trust as well?
Those are not in the community land trust, and that partnership with Habitat, one of, like, the things to highlight here also too is with the Habitat for Humanity serves the 80% AMI and below, and so I always say too, and I'm sure that they've mentioned, and I've heard Larry mention on the show before, so 6 of the units are with Habitat for Humanity, and that threshold of qualification is at 80% AMI and below. And so they do their own home buyer application process. So I always want to say to everybody to get on the Habitat application list. And for ours, we're 120% area median income and below, and we utilize the Kauai County homeownership program there. And so working with, Habitat for Humanity on multiple projects as well as Waipoli, we hit 2 different areas, right, of the AMI. And so that's really important. The 80 up to 100, so basically 120 and below based on what also Habitat can. So we're really able to provide homeownership opportunities at a range of AMIs working with partners like Habitat.
And so it means we get a little diversity too in different income brackets, and it also helps to fill the people that are in the gap. They make a little bit too much. That will help, help in that particular way.
And does that property, after a certain amount of time, can they sell it on the open market, or do they have to sell it back to somebody into the program, or how does that work for the non-PAL housing?
No, they have specific because they want to be affordable as well.
So it's similar.
Yeah.
And the county has a similar.
Yes, the county has a similar thing too. Because the whole point is to hold off hitting things on the market.
Right, and
onto the open.
Let it expire at some point, and then all of a sudden it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not. If the true meaning of community is that everyone gains, not just the one individual family.
Right.
But they're not. They could sell, and there's a specific formula of how much. A cap of how much that they can get. They get their own equity that they put in.
So as far as affordable housing development goes, who else besides Habitat and PAL is doing this? Is self-help housing still?
They have that, and that's a whole different ball game because this.
Are they here in Hawaii still, or?
As far as I know, yeah, they've got quite a bit going on over there in LA.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So who else is doing
and
this?
Our Kalaheo one, and that's Stephen, and he's the one who did his own project, and out of the kindness of his heart, made it where we could buy it at a reasonable rate, and that development is going to be nice, and it's going to be the second one that we're actually building. That one's behind the Kalaheo Cafe in Kalaheo, off the main drag, and then behind a little bit. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Taylor. What does it mean? Well, we kind of talked about how it protects the community over time. I think we kind of did talk about that. And you're helping steward the Namahana. We talked about that. What makes CLT homeownership different for families who buy these homes, and what kind of benefits or stability does it give them?
So it really gives, families something that both renting and market rate homeownership can't really provide, and that's like control and this long-term stability that Raquel had mentioned as some of the highlights is that opportunity of stability and peace. And with Hōʻike Community Land Trust, that was also in the meaning of the name, creating to make peace, to create this serenity, all of those kinds of things. And so, specifically for renters, there's always this uncertainty, which you also touched on earlier, rising rents, this month-to-month stress, moving out if a property goes up for sale. And, even if a family could qualify too from the market side, the payments are so high that, it gets stressful and it doesn't really give you room to breathe. And with the CLT homeownership, families don't have to carry with those fears, and they purchase the purchase price for the CLTs are affordable. The payments become predictable, and the home is protected from these extreme market swings that we've been seeing, and that stability really gives families this freedom to put down roots, invest in themselves, their career, their education, support their children, and focus on their health instead of constantly worrying about, their housing costs.
And,
so...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. I was
just going to jump in and say that it also allows families, without all that pressure that they are, and because it's affordable and manageable, they can actually buy food. They can, pay attention to their transportation and those things. But they're also finally getting some freedom to be able to give back to the community. And that's a big deal. You can't if you're just struggling to stay put somewhere. That's very hard. And then the other thing is in these kauhales that we are setting up, it's permanently affordable living. It's not just the house payments. It also has to do with being in a walkable community where you don't have to be in your car all the time. It has to do with shared resources, close to transportation, bus routes, and transportation hubs, and offering also some support services there too. So that all those things are helping build mini communities in our little kauhales, which is kind of what the word actually means.
Right.
Yeah. Taylor? Can you now this is the part where I would invite people to call in. I don't know why nobody's calling in. They're just so riveting on the or they're stuck in traffic. I don't know, but
give them that phone number, Lay.
This part, yes, you can call 808-826-7771. But because of this part, so Taylor, I'm interested in buying a home. What do I do? How do I start? Where do I go? Who do I call? What do I do?
Well, so the first thing is to, if you're interested, go to our website, and there, let me actually just take you through the whole thing.
Which is pal-hawaii.org.
Yes. And you go to our website. I just want to make sure that I'm telling you. And you go to, because I want to navigate through the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So any of our projects, you go to our pal-hawaii.org or palhawaii.org also works. And you would scroll into our projects tab. You'd click on our project, and you can go to, there's a number of ways that you can get there. So, for example, we're highlighting Kauhale o Namahana. So you would click on the project there. Tells you a little bit about the project, and of course about our Ho'omaluhia Community Land Trust. And then you're able to go in, and it gives you where to apply. So the way that it works is, in order to qualify for the Namahana home, is that you need to be on the Kauai County first-time homebuyer list. So enable for you to get on that list and to get that number that got you a home, Leilani,
yes,
is you need to call email, so Kauai County Housing Department. There, Elisa Chang. She is coordinates the home buying program there. You contact them, and what you do when before you get your county home buyer number is you take one of the certified home ownership education classes, and once you complete that, you get a completion certificate. You give that to Lisa, someone at the housing agency, and then they give you that perpetual number that goes on. So I've heard the numbers like up in the thousands, and people get a little bit discouraged when they say, hey, I'm like number 1,100, whatever it is. But that's a perpetual number that will just keep growing like over the years. And really the most important thing is, the last time that we spoke with Lisa, that I think there's 700 really active participants that are actively looking for a home across Kauai. And so I just wanted to add that in there, that, get in there, take the class, get your number, and Namahana, is going to be ready next year, that we're hopefully going to be able to start soliciting to home buyers. And the way that that's going to work is, once you're on that list, you have your number. When Namahana is ready, when PAL is ready, we send that marketing information to the county, and the county sends it out to all of those that are on that county home buyer list. So you'll be able to receive the packet, see what the pricing is, and it'll explain everything about the project. So that is how you'll be able to apply for the Namahana project.
So what is the class? How involved is it? How long does it take? Do I have to do it for 6 months, or
you're you did the class, Lay.
You can explain. Okay. It was pretty easy. It was 2 weekends, and you can also do the Hawaii homeownership classes online, which is really convenient. I did it. I think I went through that class twice, because I did it way before I met the folks, Taylor and Jim Edmonds. But then when they had a little open house and a little demo about it, like a little intro to explain to the public, I thought, well, okay, why not? I'll go check it out, see what they are. And when I met the team, and I met Jim and Harvest and Taylor, I thought, wow, okay, these these people, because you go through it and you say, yeah, okay, I'll get in line and wait forever.
Sure.
But they seemed like they mean business. And that was at that point. I had an inactive real estate license for years. And I said, okay, I think I can get on board with these guys. And that's what I did.
We have a phone call. A call as I'm going to put them on right now.
Okay, stay on, Taylor.
Yep.
If you would.
Aloha caller, you're live on the air.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Kahi. Aloha.
Aloha, Kahi.
Hey, aloha. Just wanted to thank you for doing the work that you do. Hawaii is just a really awesome, under-recognized nonprofit on the island, much like Malama Kauai and Kauai Community Radio. So really appreciate what you guys do.
Yep.
I also want to encourage people to investigate what you guys are doing. Of course, people that are prospective homeowners that dream about owning their own home on Kauai, but also, this is kind of where I wanted to find out what kind of outreach you guys are doing, like for people that own property that might be willing to sell their properties or are already considering selling, as well as developers, and like just curious what kind of outreach you guys are doing, and if you guys have a certain way of reaching out on that side of things.
In previous shows, we've reached out for people who have offerings, because land is at a shortage, as we know, and buying it at market price is kind of a toughie, So I think that's what you're referring to. So anyone who's willing with land or with time for volunteering or for dollars. So, but get in touch with us. Will you call us and we can continue a discussion?
I definitely am. I'm intending to get in touch with you. I'm just sort of wondering if there's anything that can be said, like on the air, for people that do own property or are being forced to sell because they can't afford to keep their land. Like, what can they, aside from just reaching out to you, like what can they kind of look forward to as far as like a partnership or some kind of package that could be put together? I don't know if you guys have gotten that far, but that's sort of something that I'm interested in, kind of spearheading. If you guys don't really have, something that you regularly offer as far as like what you guys are able to do, maybe the average retail buyer can't necessarily do, or I mean what I want to highlight is that you guys are anti-speculation. So it's not like you guys are going to buy a property off of someone and then flip it for double, and then that person's going to flip it for quadruple. And I think that's really important for people to recognize, is that it's not necessarily the person that's selling their property that kind of ruins it for everybody. It's when you keep reselling and you keep doubling down, and the next person is in the same exact position. So of course they're going to resell as well, and with the market and inflation and market forces, it's sort of like a runaway train. And obviously our real estate agents, they have to make a living too, so they're getting paid by commission, and the whole thing is just kind of a vicious cycle. So not to place any blame on any person or organization, but sort of just the system that we live in, and I think a lot of people are sort of maybe unaware of the mechanics behind that.
Yeah, true. And that's why we do have that 1% to give people a mechanism to help give back when they are making commissions and selling their properties or whatnot. So there's that.
Well, I think that's a great question.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can, Taylor. And I was going to ask.
Great.
Jump in, Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm so energized by this call, Teahi. So, being that I shifted gears in PAL to, this passion work of community land trust, that we're really building the program out, and we work with organizations across Hawaii, through these cohorts that we've created with the community land trust, and trying to figure out the best ways that's going to make the most impact for our unique communities that are here on Kauai. The differences between like what availability of land is on the North Shore compared to, where we are in Kalaheo and all across the island. There's such unique challenges, housing, and what you're talking about, like for those out there that are possibly going to lose their property, or those that are thinking about selling, please have them talk to me and get in contact with me, just so a lot of ways that community land trusts are doing their work is really through the recapture, right? Trying to capture this land and these properties that are being taken to the speculative market. And that is one of the things that we're trying to work on, is expanding our program of acquiring properties and working with families so that they don't go off into the speculative market. So I'm so grateful that you brought this up, and I would love to talk with you more.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely call you guys, off air. I just kind of wanted to throw something out for people that might already be listening, and sort of maybe other people have ideas, or they're, the juices are flowing. But I've done real estate projects myself, just for family and friends, usually small CPRs and subdivisions. And it's one thing to get the subdivision done, so each family member sort of has their own small parcel. But at that point, they're still not really motivated to, or incentivized to kind of, to keep it in their hands. A lot of times, situation changes and they end up selling, and when they do sell, they sell it right into the market and get market prices. And a lot of times they don't really think about, maybe selling it to a community land trust. Sort of stops the bleeding, right? Like it's like they get maybe same amount of money, or they get close to it, combining with write-offs and stuff, donations for selling at a bargain. But I have other ideas that I want to share with you guys, and I just want to let people know that are listening. There's lots of things that haven't been tried yet, and the fact that you have an organization like Cal Hawaii on island really gives us an advantage for having sustainable housing. I mean, I've seen similar things in places like Denver, and I've gone to a lot of conventions on affordable housing and innovative housing, solutions like community land trust, but it's just really underutilized, I want to say. I mean, I know people have heard of Hawaii Land Trust and land preservation organizations such as that, but it's a completely different instrument and model, whereas conservation is typically anti-housing, and community land trust is actually pro-housing. And then so I just want to, it's a very stark difference that I want to let people know, that donating to one land trust is not the same. One is not the same as all. So just to put that out there, because some people have this confusion that a land trust is a land trust, and that's just really not the case. And I'm absolutely, and I'll just be very frank, is I'm pro community land trust, but I'm actually anti conservation land trust for various reasons, especially on an island like Hawaii, where
that's where you do have a lot of people's perception of land trust is for conservation purposes. And my familiarity with land trust was mostly that until most recently, when you guys were talking about land trust. Cooperative housing was another model that I was more familiar with, that a lot of people confuse for like the, if you will, traditional co-op building, as opposed to what is kind of a co-housing and cooperative community housing projects.
Which is a completely different structure, actually, than our 501c3 community land trust model.
Right.
But there's room to do all kinds of different
and
things
it's really
and
about
different
kind
avenues.
of structures and organization of how that's kind of built on the front end as you design for ideal community living. It's sustainable, affordable community living, and that's why I think, like Dr. Keahi is suggesting, your model is it's incredible, and it gives Kauai an additional kind of resilience factor. We just need to do more of it.
And because
how do we
it's
do that?
focused on and for the community, which is the local population, which really carries the heavy lifting in all of the work, in our people who are in the jobs that people that are well-heeled need access to. They need grocery store clerks. They need, all the different trades.
Right.
They need the DMV people, the banks. I mean, bank tellers are not exactly banking income,
right.
But yet, if it's when there's understaffment due to housing costs, well, then you end up standing in line for
And I think another part of your organizational genius was deciding to, expand out of the, if you will, boardroom and get into the radio studio and go out airways. We can thank Hōʻike for helping us amplify your organization's mission and purpose, because more people need to know about this work that you're doing. More people need to know how to support.
Right.
Folks don't even think about when their family has a loss and the patriarch or matriarch dies, and what are we going to do with what are we going to do with Papa's pasture? Well, we could sell it. Well, how do we want to sell it? And some folks might want to think about the alternatives, just to putting it on, no name specific, but Coldwell Banker is a well-known realtor organization, and there's alternatives to that. And you guys provide that kind of alternative model.
Right.
And Dr. K, you're suggesting there's even alternatives to the alternatives.
Yes, indeed.
Well, there's definitely, yes, and there's a lot of reach out that can still be done. Just even people that are hearing this right now, and they might not think they will benefit from what Hawaii is doing, but I can guarantee you someone that will benefit. And the power in that is, like, when someone really is in a situation where they're receptive to something that Hawaii has to offer, and they get connected, and they end up with a home, and they have the education, and they have the appreciation for that opportunity. They're at a really critical part in their life where they can learn and they can receive why speculation is not good for the community, and that when they reach a certain point, they won't have the same motivation to just do what everybody else does, right? It's like, I earned it, I did this all on my own, I deserve all the profit that comes from it, and they just flip it into the market and then start the whole cycle again. So I can't stress enough how important it is to reach people when they're actually reachable, because once you get to a certain point, I've seen this so many times where people go from, you might see them one day and they're just desperate for a home, and they would do anything for a home, and then you see them 10 years later and they're like, oh yeah, I just made $1 million selling I just inherited all this property all of a sudden, and I'm a millionaire now, and I'm driving a Tesla, and I got my Toyota truck and all these things, and because nobody reached them when they really needed it, when they were open to it. And once they're comfortable and everything's going right for them, there's no way they're gonna listen to what we have to say, And so I just want to say, like, it really matters with timing when you're able to talk to people and to bridge that gap, because this resource is here and it changes people's lives, which will then change all of our lives, because it reaches deeply into the community and starts to reset the patterns that we've all just been programmed to. It's like autopilot, for decades and decades.
Right. Well, that's why we do what we do out here with the radio, and we're really delighted about our partnership also with Hōʻike and KKCR, because we know that not everybody can tune in from 4 to 6, because a lot of times people are working their second job at that hour.
That's
people are busy, can't go show up at county meetings, which are normally in the daytime when most people are working. We're just stressed. It's the people who are very advantaged are the ones that can sit and have their voices heard quite frequently. So we feel like we need to be the call out to the community of letting you all know what you need to know in order to have advantages that we all need. So that's why we're looking at, and you can also stream it later, and Jimmy's giving me the hint, so I'll be quiet.
Well, I was just going to say, Dr. K, you're welcome to hang on the line. Taylor as well, because we're going to get back to you. I've got a couple of messages that I need to play, and then we'll get right back to the conversation on Permanently Affordable Living Hawaii Radio. Hold on right there.
Hi, this is Manulea from Kapa'a, and you're listening to KKCR, Kauai Community Radio.
If you or someone you know are affected by the government shutdown and find yourself in need of food assistance, there are resources to help. tinyurl.com/Kauai Food Help has information on organizations on Kauai that are available to provide assistance. You will be able to find addresses, phone numbers, and timing. Note that most of these organizations are looking for volunteers. Again, that's tinyurl.com/Kauai Food Help, or look for the link at kkcr.org.
Hale and Kauai Gaming Club presents a Nintendo Switch Super Smash Bros. Tournament on Sunday, December 7th from 5 to 9 p.m. at Hale, 4286 Rice Street. If you would like more information, please go to Instagram at Hale.
Aloha, this is Derek Kawakami from Lihue, Kauai, and you're listening to KKCR, Kauai Community Radio.
That's right. You are listening to Kauai Community Radio. And Dr. Keahi, any final thoughts before I let you go?
No, I just wanted to apologize. I meant to call in earlier, but I didn't have service where I was, and I just have my phone. So
thank you for calling in. Either. Oh, I'm off.
But yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in.
Dr. K, thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to you guys off air. But thank you so much for everything that you do. Aloha, guys.
Mahalo. Taylor, are you still there?
I am, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're getting close to the end. So regarding that process, and I was talking about my journey, but it's very similar to the one that we have. Once you've gone through the class and you've learned what you need to learn, the key part of it is getting prepared to be homeownership prepared, which has everything actually to do with improving your credit score, because the higher your credit score, the lower your interest rate is, how to responsibly know how to walk through all the very multiple documents with real estate, so you're not just going in blind and signing blindly, understanding what those documents are all about. They give you a big manual, they open the dialogue with everything, and they advise you strongly about your debt-to-income ratio. So, Keahi was talking about the truck and the Tesla and all that. There are people that are on the list and don't know when something's going to come open, because you don't know necessarily, and decide, okay, well, I'm never going to get a home. Why don't I just buy a car? Well, that'll immediately make you not so eligible and won't look so good as far as getting a mortgage. So those things are really important, and it can take sometimes a year, maybe 2, to get those things turned around if you're not in great shape initially. So there are people like that. So when that happens and a home comes up and you're not ready or qualified, then you don't lose your place in line. You just step back, and then the next person in line jumps in. So that part it's all up to the participant, really, of how they're going to approach it. You know, you can learn something and take it to heart and really do something with it, or you can just say, and not. So, but those things are really key. So that's the process. Do you want to talk about the PALS process as far as eligibilities?
Yeah, so, so I'll just continue on through, add-in where you left off is, so once, you've moved through the whole homeownership education class, you get that number, let's say we reach January and you're on the home buyer list and you get the marketing for Namahana. So the process there is the county does, you'll see in your packet that you'll get a letter of interest. So if you're interested in applying for the Namahana project, you fill out this application, you send it in to the county. The county does kind of a soft financial qualification look at the applicant, and then from there we are partnering with so in that process they kind of see immediately where your finances are, if you meet all of the qualifying criteria for the Namahana project. So it's that income threshold, 120% AMI and below, as well as kind of do those kind of those soft financial snapshots that Leilani was kind of, credit score, those kinds of things. Then from there, they're able to kind of see right off the bat who will qualify for this project, who won't. Those that qualify, that move on, then work with Hawaiian Community Assets, and they do the full deep dive into your finances, as well as that further education too of, applying for a mortgage, and also even some of the details with our community land trust ground lease, and kind of help you through that process. So that's kind of, so they also will do our points and preferences there. So really, your relation to where you currently live and work, in relation to the Namahana project. Those kinds of things are really brought into consideration for qualifying for that property in Namahana. And so that's just a little bit of the process from start to kind of finish for the Namahana project. And, you can ask any other questions too, if I need to clarify.
Mm-hmm. No, that's thorough. Great. Very good. And the packet's in the works, we know, and
yes,
coming soon, close to publishing.
Yeah, and so again, we're working with Hawaiian Community Assets as well as, working with getting those resources ready so that when we're giving these packets, we can also give them, hey, these are some of the different financial institutions that you can work with that are, are knowledgeable of what a community land trust leasehold, looks like. They are already kind of previewed to what that is, and we are able to provide some direction so that the home buyers aren't just like, here you go, here's this opportunity, figure it out. Mm-hmm. We're really trying to make this a process that is easy and is digestible and understandable to all the ranges of people that are on this list. So, yeah.
Well said. Thank you, Taylor. That was awesome. I bet your jiu-jitsu gal is getting hungry for dinner by now. I know I am.
Yeah. But I appreciate being on the call, and, I'm just so excited for all the work that we're doing. And, it's a privilege, and I really carry this responsibility for Kauai, and I'm proud to hold this responsibility. And thank you, Lei, and for the rest of the team at PAL.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. We usually end with a message of hope, and you have done that. Thank you so much, Taylor, for stepping up. We appreciate your calling in.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha, Taylor. Thanks for calling.
We will.
There we go.
I want to mention something, too, because we were talking about our young and brave people who are in our team, which I'm very grateful for. Well, Jade is focused only about what she's doing at PAL, but that was a heck of a journey that she made. I mean, she's had quite the trajectory, let's put it that way. And she's never set foot on Kauai before. So, she's diving into work. But, a big challenge is the roads, the dark roads, and the windy, curvy roads, and the.
Yeah, that was a transition. I was visiting some places, and I'm like, wow, there's no street lights, and why is everywhere so dark? And everywhere is a winding path. But it's been an interesting, would I say roller coaster?
Yeah, sure.
And your
life is that way.
And you're still kind of digesting the food prices here?
The food prices. It's something I'm getting. Even the house prices, of course, I work at PAL, and I think abstractly in my mind, I was like, okay, it's expensive, but I don't think I understood the weight of it until I came here. And so more, just like Taylor said, I find it as a great privilege to be able to work in this organization and that's what I was saying, that all of our staff is committed to the mission because we are all living through it. And I think to answer the previous question that you asked, I've always wanted to leave, to work in an organization where there's that synergy between the organization's mission and my personal values. And so I think that is true for all of our staff, because we are living through this life, right? There is no disconnect between what the company is doing and how you're living your life. We are all going through this process. And so, yeah, it's been a very eye-opening learning experience. I'm trying to be humble through it all and, you know, have an open mind and really understand and appreciate, you know, all of the people that live here and honor and respect their resilience, because Kauai is just a very different vibe and a very different heart compared to any other place. I don't think there's any other place like Kauai. There are so many places that are expensive, but there's just so many things that is going on in Kauai, and not all of them are, you know, Debbie Downers. There are so many like wonderful, you know, exciting opportunities that exist.
The longer you live here, the more you'll find that out.
Here in Kauai as well. So
I'm enjoying walking her through the community and introducing her and sharing experiences with her. We went to an amazing concert last night. You want to share about that?
Yes, and it's interesting because, like I said, I'm originally from Nigeria, so I was super excited when the Zimbabwean choir, Nubuntu, I think is their name, so they came to Kauai. I was like, wow, all the way from Zimbabwe. Amazing.
Right? Was that at KCC?
No, they had a power failure, so they had to change venue to the Luau Pavilion. At the last minute. Shock.
Wow.
But they still pulled it off. The room was full. I mean, it was nearly sold out.
It was. And I'm really so happy to see all of that welcoming, you know, spirit that was shown to people who were coming from far away. Like Leilani said, the room was full. Everyone was enjoying the music, even though it was in another language. So, yeah, definitely having that feeling welcome here, and even just having this conversation with you has been amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, thank you for, you know, Leilani, because you've, if you will, orchestrated this show fully. And I know that there's a number of things going on in regards to just life. And I'm excited for your new position, for you and your organization to be kind of having this, I would say, kind of synergistic kind of experience.
Indeed.
Because it's so critical, the work that you guys do, and as Dr. Kiahi pointed out, that you guys all kind of embody. And it's a privilege when Leigh approached me and said, you know, would you be interested in helping us with the radio show? I was like, wow, yeah, because that's an easy thing for me to do, and to help, you know, platform and amplify your guys' mission and message. I'm just so glad that KKC, when I first heard about the radio show, I was like, perfect, because the Monday Mix Play was all about that type of programming, where we're going to be doing something different every week, and it would be community-based.
And appropriate to things that are happening, relevant to things that are currently happening. Things change so fast. So we don't figure out shows months in advance ever. We like to stay right on top and on the edge of what is actually occurring nowadays. So, yeah. And Jimmy, we love having you. Thank you so much. You run the board, and we're grateful for your involvement very much.
Thanks for having me, and mahalo Max Richardson for making us be YouTubers for the day. We'll be also on the Hōʻike Community Channel 54. Look for us, and we're going to go out with our, if you will, regular music choice with Brother Is. And Richard Fernandez will be coming on here very shortly with Sunset Jazz, and really excited about that. I want to make sure I find the right spot. Here I was messing around with my cart, and now I'm in a whole different...
Welcome to live radio.
Yeah, all of a sudden now I'm pressing the wrong button. There we go. I think this is the icon I was looking for. If not, I'm going to be... Wow, that was definitely not what I thought I was punching up. Dang, I think I've really blown it now, Richard. You are going to be like, what'd you do? Where'd we go?
He's got a smile on his face,
Yeah,
so we're
well,
good.
He's looking at us. I think I'm going to look at shows. Boy, this is where Annie, if you're listening and you're in the house, this is when we need a true professional. And Richard, any kind of suggestion you have? DJ Schemes, is that right? I've never seen this, so we're yeah. Here we go. I think when you hit it, I'm going to just here's we're looking at well,
we're on the edges of our seats here,
and this is where I blew it, because I was going to play this song as my outro, and I'll do that, and then Richard's going to step in. You'll hear his wonderful, if you will, smooth jazz voice. Leilani, thanks for awesome show. Jade, much love to you, and aloha.
Mahalo nui for everyone.
Max, this is the music you don't want to hear.